All right, just got word that there is a Huss and Dalton for sale in Charlottesville. So that's just over the mountain. So I'm gonna pack up, I'm gonna run over. It's the Road Series OMR ROMR. Let's run over the mountain, let's go pick it up. All right.
I'm really pretty sad to let it go, but...
Yeah, man. You going to grad school? Or you're continuing grad school?
Yeah, I'm med school, actually.
Med school, awesome. Here at UVA?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, there it is.
Yeah, what's the story? When did you get it?
I've only had it for a couple months. I mean, I wanted my... I mean, I only have 2 other guitars. I wanted this to be my main acoustic guitar, but I really wanted one I loved, and this one I love it, but not enough, you know, so...
Gotcha. What are your other 2?
I have a classical and a tele, so I need to have an acoustic in the arsenal.
Okay. But this is very cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I just bought another Huss and Dalton a little bit ago.
I'm not from Virginia until I came up here, how much of a guitar place Virginia kind of is.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, I know there's another luthier in Charlottesville, I think Rockbridge or something.
Yeah, because he's good friends with Dave Matthews. And
really?
Yeah, because Dave Matthews is from Charlottesville, or like lived here after moving from South Africa. Yeah. It's super clean.
Yeah, I'm the second owner. I got this from a guy in Richmond.
Okay.
He's the first. I think he got it from Guitar Works there.
Oh yeah.
With that?
I forgot they're still around.
Yeah, it's got the documentation there.
Oh, cool. Cool. Well, this one has $600 in it. I went to buy something the other day, and I actually passed. But I still had money out from the bank. So there's 600.
Okay.
You want to double check that. And then this one is 1250. No. However the math works out.
Yeah, it would be
1150. So 1150 and 600, 1750.
Yep, it's good to me, man.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, hope med school goes well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you. Yeah, I love the channel.
Thanks. Yeah. But so with this, like, I think I wanted to give you the most I could. I'll have it for a couple months, and I'll sell it, you know, make some money. But
yeah. Well, one of the reasons I was happy to sell it to you is because I knew it would end up in good hands either way, whether yours or someone else's. So
that's what's fun, is like kind of gaining this like herd of people that love really cool guitars.
Yeah.
So cool, man. Good to meet you.
Yeah, the nice thing is actually if I decide I might want it back later on,
let me know.
I can maybe trace it through you. So anyway.
Yeah.
For now.
Cool.
I hope someone else will like it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, great to meet you.
Cool,
man.
great to meet you. Yeah, glad it worked out. All right, man. I'll see you soon.
Look out for the video.
That's a cool guitar. I haven't actually played one of these before, but I just kind of quickly assessed it, looked at action, finish, any issues that I thought it might have, and it looks super clean. It has a really great top. So anyway, I'm super excited to own it. Let's go home. I'll give you more of a walkthrough on fit, features, function, all those things. I got this a few days ago. This is a Huss and Dalton. It's made 30 minutes down the road from me. This is their Road series, which I don't think they're making anymore. So the Road series, this is their OMR. Total model name is ROM-R. So it's an orchestra model. What does that mean? Orchestra models, they look a lot like triple O's, but usually this pick guard, that's one of the easier ways to tell if it's an OM or a triple O. So the OM is the orchestra model. That usually means that it has a longer scale length. So this has a 25 and 5/8 scale length. I measured it. I'm not good with tape measures. Surprise. So it has a longer scale length, which gives it a little more tension, and it just feels more robust under your fingers, but it's still a really comfortable, smaller size box. The last thing is the R, R-O-M-R. That means rosewood back and sides. So this is beautiful, dark, grainy East Indian rosewood. It's a satin finish on the back and sides, and it has the nickel tuners back here. And similar to a Martin 21 series, it has black binding rather than white. So the 21 series, if you don't know, it sits between the 18 and the 28. So the 18 is mahogany back and sides, but black binding. It's usually very subdued styling. And then you get to like fancy in the Martin world is the 28, which is white binding. Still a very simple design, but so typically 28s have white, 18s have black. 21s are in the middle, in which they have black binding like an 18 series, but they also have East Indian rosewood like a 28 series. All of that arrives this at a guitar that is a fully professional grade, American-made guitar, and I got it for less than $2,000. I got this guitar for $1,750, which I think is a great deal. So I paid $1,750, and I paid more than I typically would because the guy who I bought this from is going to med school and he needs money, and I'm abundantly sympathetic, and so I'm cutting it a little close. I think I paid $1,750 for this guitar. I think this guitar is probably worth in the neighborhood of $2,000, $2,300, $2,400, I think, if I really play my cards right. And so I was able to give him the most that he could get, because he said that the closest offer he got in town was $1,400, which is a bummer for such a great guitar and for somebody that's just in a situation where, like, I don't want anyone to ever borrow money for anything. Like, I don't want to put anyone into a spot where they have to take out student loans. Student loans are terrible. So I gave him the most that I could, gave him $1,750 to where I think I can play this guitar and really kind of enjoy it, and then find somebody that's going to love it and hang on to it for a long time. So I get it, this is an unusual guitar to find. You're probably not gonna see one out and about, but I wanna talk about it for a bunch of reasons. So you're probably not gonna find one of these guitars if you live in Omaha or if you live out west or Singapore. Maybe you'll find them in Singapore, I don't know. But the reality is, you need to be able to figure out how much guitars are worth and what things are cool and what the guitar culture wants at large, because your geography really does matter. It really affects the kinds of guitars that you're going to be able to play. Your geography informs your life, and your life experiences inform the kind of music that people play, and the kind of music people play dictates the kind of guitar brands that show up around your place. So I live in a really mountainous area in the Shenandoah Valley. It's beautiful. And because of that, there's this kind of deep tradition of acoustic music. One is kind of the old-timey, fingerstyle, Irish-inspired, singer-songwriter, open-tuning dadgad guitar. That's where all of, like, when people ask me why I play in dadgad so much, it's because I grew up in the Valley. And my guitar teacher, nerdy thing I rarely talk about, I used to be in a Shakespearean acting troupe, So I was taught to play guitar that would accompany and pair well with the Shakespeare plays that we were putting on. More often than not, that was more kind of Celtic-inspired music. So lots of dadgad, lots of open D tuning. That's just my tradition and where I came up with. Now, I've totally experienced that and made that style of music my own. But that's one reason that this guitar comes from this place, is that it plays into that. The other kind of music that is really prevalent in the Shenandoah Valley is bluegrass, because on one side of the valley are the Appalachian Mountains, and so there is this deep connection to Appalachian culture that comes from here, and bluegrass is certainly a part of that, so folk and bluegrass. So both ways mean that lots of the guitars that show up around me are really tailored towards bluegrass, country, old-timey, Irishy, folky, acoustic guitars. I'm very fortunate those are the kinds of guitars that I like most. And so, for example, I don't see many jazz guitars show up around here. If I had to pick a third most common kind of music around here, it's like super shreddy DIY metal and hardcore. So there's tons of those kinds of guitars. Anyway, weird juxtaposition. All of that to say, your location really does matter. So this guitar is perfectly representative of the guitar culture that is prevalent in the Valley. With that said, here's my 3-question gear review. The 3 questions in the gear reviews are, what's good about it? What's bad about it? And should you buy it? What is good about the Huss and Dalton Road Series OM? It is a dream to play. It plays so well. It's so light. The guitar itself is not very heavy at all. It's very comfortable to sit on your lap. It sounds great in standard tuning, comes alive in open tuning. It is just a really well-built guitar. What's interesting is this model is aimed to be a more affordable version of their very expensive guitars, and I think that they nailed it because there are a few trade-offs, but for the most part, everything that is good about this guitar is it really is just a stunning piece of Sitka on the top. The back and sides are rosewood. The rosewood is dark and inky, has some purple hues. It's not overly chocolatey brown. It just looks really good. The black binding is cool and subtle, and it blends in well, but you still see that there's binding. The back of the neck is also satin, and it's a more opaque finish. You don't see as much of the wood grain through it, but it's just very cool. It reminds me a lot of old Gibsons. It reminds me of like 30s and 40s Gibsons, if you've ever been able to play a pre-war Gibson, or see one in person. It has this kind of opaque finish and has more of a V feel to the neck. So what's cool is like the guitar looks like a Martin, but it feels way more like a Gibson in the neck shape. And then the back of the headstock is incredibly cool. Satin finish, has the nickel tuners. The other thing what's good about it is everything about the aesthetic and the style is really unique, really cool. It doesn't feel like another guitar brand. I know some people are going to see this guitar and think that it looks like a Martin, and that's true, but the thing is, Martins are so subtle that lots of guitars end up looking like them. So closing out my thoughts on what is good about this. It plays so well. It is just a really well set up guitar. The geometry just feels right. It doesn't feel like I have to change my natural inclination on how I play guitar to just bring out the best in this guitar and to discover new stuff. Like I've already written new music just from having this guitar around, which is always the sign of a really good and inspiring guitar. What's bad about it? There's some trigger in my brain that doesn't love satin finish on the back and sides, and I know that it is a really expensive part of guitar manufacturing to get such a mirror high gloss finish, and so the exchange to save some money off of the cost of that guitar and the cost of production is going to be doing a satin finish. It has this satiny, like almost glossy look to it, so to me it doesn't bother me that much. It is interesting, and I like on satin necks where you can tell that the guitar has been played, where it's, very matte on the headstock, and then as you get into past the nut, as you get into where your hand is on the guitar, it starts to smooth out and polish out. I think that's very cool. It is a fun and quick way that the guitar starts to feel like it's been played a good bit and it feels broken in. So the other things that people might not love, it has the closed gear Goto vintage style tuners, which for some people may be a hang up. There's the pendulum always swings back and forth. You know, people used to not want Gotos or open gear tuners because they didn't want stuff to get in them, and they'd put Grovers on guitars, and now the pendulum has swung back the other way. So people, the preference now is for open geared tuners. But I can say that from a reliability and use standpoint, the nickel tuners on this are as good as you will get. They have a great ratio. They're super smooth. There's no humps in them. There's no binding in the tuners. Just really good thing. But those are the two things. Maybe there's a third thing. So the two things that people would see are going to be the satin finish and then the tuners. The last thing is the rosewood bridge and rosewood fingerboard. So for the most part, with Huss and Dalton, they use ebony on everything. Like my TDM has like jet black, beautiful ebony for the fingerboard and for the bridge. This has rosewood, so it's going to be a little more chocolatey brown. It is interesting. This is a much browner piece. Both the bridge and the fingerboard are more brown than the back and sides, but it's not noticeable. And it's still, when you look at just the quality of the bridge, the quality of the pieces that Huss and Dalton manufacture. So in each of the string holes, you can see that there's this very smooth, gentle chamfer that comes out. Is that a chamfer or a bevel? That's a bevel. So it's this very gentle beveled edge inside where each of the pegs sit. It's just really clear attention to detail. The material, when paired with the manufacturing process, still holds up. So, but I could see how that could be an issue for someone. So the last question is, should you buy one? To me, I think that you should absolutely buy a Huss and Dalton guitar. They are wonderful. If you have a chance, especially used, they are such a substantial value. I bought my Huss and Dalton TDM for $2,000, which is crazy. I bought this one for $1,750, which is a good deal. You can get well-made, American-made guitars, and they're pretty readily available. Now, remember, your location does matter a lot. So you're probably not going to find these as much if you live in San Francisco, but you should go to Griffin, because Griffin carries Huss and Dalton in Palo Alto, or they're in like San Francisco area. But all of that to say, I am not paid by Huss and Dalton. They are just long-standing friends. But I am so fortunate that they just make incredible guitars. So I think that you absolutely should check them out if you can. Check out their website. I'm going to put their link in the description below. Check out their website. Check out their models. Just become aware with the models that they offer. If you want to buy one, let me know. And, we'll find a time to hang out and go down to Stanton and see their place. And yeah, anyway, I love this guitar. I'm very excited. It will be available on my website. So, all that to say, thanks for watching this video. I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter. Go fill the world with music and friendship. If you want to support the channel, become a patron, or go to my website, jeremytheguitarhunter.com/shop, and you can check out the guitars that are available, and you can also buy merch, t-shirts, buttons, all that stuff. So, anyway, good to see all of y'all. I am so glad that we're in it together. Yeah. Go fill the world with music and friendship. See you later.